When Donald Trump walked into that public library in West Palm Beach, no one looked twice. That's because no one recognized him. He wore a black baseball cap, reading glasses, and a windbreaker zipped halfway up. Not a single person connected the quiet older man near the children's book section with the former president of the United States. And that's exactly how he wanted it. He wasn't there for press. He wasn't there to be seen. He was there because he'd read a story that got buried in the back of a local newspaper. A small article about a girl named Bella, a 13-year-old living in her mother's broken-down car and still managing to show up at the library every afternoon to do her homework. What caught Trump's attention wasn't her poverty, it was her precision. The article said she was failing every subject except math. And in math, she was ahead of her class. Way ahead. She did algebra in her head, drew diagrams without a ruler, and once solved a librarian's computer problem in under 2 minutes. Trump circled the article. "Smart kid," he muttered. But what he really meant was, "This kid has no shot if no one steps in." So he did. Quietly. Carefully. An alias. A disguise. A notebook and an old briefcase. He registered as Don Miller at the front desk and asked for a tutoring room. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 4:30 p.m. sharp, he sat in the same glass-walled corner of the library, waiting, watching. On the third day, she showed up, thin, backpack half unzipped, sneakers duct-taped at the toe. Bella. She was early, sat 3 tables down, pulled out a math workbook so old the pages were yellow. Trump approached slowly. "You good with numbers?" he asked. She looked up, wary. "Why?" "Because I used to be, and I'm rusty." She stared for a second, then said, "What's your name?" "Don," he said. "Don Miller." She raised an eyebrow. "Okay, Don. I'll give you one problem. If you miss it, you leave me alone." He nodded. "Deal." She wrote it on a sticky note. A multi-step equation with fractions. Complex. He solved it in less than 30 seconds. She blinked. "All right. You're not completely hopeless." And just like that, it began. Twice a week. Quiet sessions, no attention, no announcements, just a girl and a man solving problems together. She taught him how she thought. He taught her how to refine it. By the 3rd week, she was doing early geometry. By the 6th, he brought her a used graphing calculator. She cried when she opened the box. He said it was nothing. But to her, it was everything. Bella never asked where Don came from, never asked why he cared. But she started arriving early, started dressing neater, started smiling more. And on the 8th Thursday, she brought him a peanut butter sandwich. "I figured it's your turn," she said. He didn't eat it, but he kept it, wrapped it back up, placed it in his briefcase. "Best gift I've gotten in years," he said. Bella laughed. But there was something more than laughter behind her eyes. It was the kind of moment Trump had seen before, not in politics, not on TV, but in real life. When someone who's used to being overlooked suddenly feels seen. He didn't need applause. He didn't need credit. He needed her to win. Because America didn't rise on perfect starts. It rose on second chances, and Bella was a second chance waiting to happen. What neither of them knew that day was that someone else had started noticing. A local reporter, watching from the children's section, wondering why this Don Miller always came, always helped, and never signed his name to anything. The reporter took a photo. Low resolution. Blurry. But when it leaked 2 weeks later, everything changed. Because someone online enhanced the image, and the world realized the man behind the reading glasses and duct-taped briefcase was Donald J. Trump. The photo hit the internet like a spark in dry grass. Blurry at first, just a man helping a girl with a workbook. But by the time it reached its third repost, someone enhanced it. Then someone else zoomed in. By the fourth repost, hashtags were born. Is That Trump trended by noon. Most people thought it was fake, a look-alike, a hoax. But some recognized the posture, the hairline, the slight smirk. And one person, someone who used to do logistics on Trump's security detail, posted a one-word tweet. It's him. Then the theories began. Why was he there? Who was the girl? Was this a stunt? A setup? Trump ignored it all, kept his schedule, showed up Thursday like always. Same hoodie, same glasses, same briefcase. But this time, Bella was different. Her hands were shaking, her backpack tighter on her shoulders. When he sat down, she whispered, "Are you really him?" Trump didn't blink. "Does it matter?" Bella looked at him, eyes glassy. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you never treated me like I was different. You just wanted help with math, and I just wanted to help." Bella nodded slowly, then said, "My mom thinks we're in trouble." Trump shook his head. "You're not. I'll handle it." That night, he made a call. One call. To a contact he hadn't spoken to in 3 years. The next morning, Bella and her mother were moved into temporary housing. Rent paid, groceries delivered, job training for the mom. Tutoring continued. Quietly. Until it wasn't. A local news station ran a segment. Former president spotted helping homeless girl at library. The host tried to twist it. Is this a PR stunt or redemption? Trump released no statement. Didn't tweet. Didn't post. But Bella did. On her school's blog, she wrote a short piece titled, "Don't Judge Help by Who Gives It." In it, she never used his name. Just called him Mr. Don. She wrote, "Mr. Don helped me when no one else even looked at me. He didn't bring cameras, he brought pencils, and he listened. That's more than most people ever do." The post went viral. Over 20 million views in 2 days. Celebrities commented. Activists argued. But everyday Americans saw something else. They saw proof that you don't need a campaign to make a difference. Just time, patience, and presence. The library started getting calls from around the country. Donations, letters, books. Schools started asking for programs. Parents asked if Mr. Don could come visit. Trump declined every one. But he did one thing. He created a scholarship. Named it after Bella. Not her full name. Just BM. It stood for her initials. And also for something else. Brighter Minds. The fund was seeded anonymously. But people knew. And when Bella was accepted into an elite science magnet program, she stood at the podium, smiled nervously, and said, "I got here because someone believed in me before the world did." Trump watched the live feed from a back room in the library. Didn't clap, just smiled. A soft, quiet kind of smile. The kind that doesn't need a microphone, because some victories don't need to be shouted. They just need to be lived. Bella's life started moving fast, faster than she could keep up with. From shelter to stable home. From old textbooks to a full ride at a top math academy. She barely had time to think, but every Tuesday and Thursday she showed up to the same table in the library. And so did Trump. Still, Mr. Don still low-key, still wearing the same hoodie. Only now, the library had extra security, quiet security, hidden in plain clothes, just in case. Trump didn't want protection, but others insisted. And after the viral photo, he knew the world was watching. Bella never changed the way she spoke to him. She still brought peanut butter sandwiches, still corrected his mistakes with a grin, still treated him like a regular tutor. That mattered. more than she knew, because everyone else wanted something from him. A quote, a selfie, a reaction. Bella only wanted help with problem number 16. One day in late spring, she walked in with red eyes. "They're kicking us out," she said. Trump sat still. "Who?" "The new landlord. Said my mom doesn't make enough. Rent's going up." Trump asked for the address. She wrote it on the back of a receipt. He didn't say a word. But the next morning, the landlord got a call. From a holding company. The building was purchased. Tenants allowed to stay. Rent locked for 5 years. A new maintenance crew was hired. And Trump never put his name on it. Bella never found out. But her mother cried when she got the notice. That night, Bella hugged Mr. Don tighter than usual. "Thank you," she whispered. Trump said, "For what?" She smiled. "You already know." That same week, a major newspaper ran a front-page editorial, "The Quiet Redemption of Donald Trump." The piece praised him, cautiously. It said, "While politicians shout, Trump has chosen silence, and in that silence, he's doing the one thing people said he couldn't: healing." The article didn't go viral, but the photo next to it did. Bella, holding a calculator, laughing, Mr. Don, watching her like a proud grandfather. No speech, no pose, just presence. That weekend, Bella gave Trump a gift, a small hand-carved wooden ruler. She'd made it in shop class. It had 2 letters on it. D.T. He looked at it for a long time. "You know?" he asked. She nodded. "I figured it out a while ago, but I didn't care." "Why not?" "Because you never made me feel small. Everyone else did. But not you." Trump put the ruler in his briefcase, right next to the sandwich. He didn't say it, but that ruler meant more than any building with his name on it. Because this wasn't about branding. This was about rebuilding. Bella started tutoring others, kids younger than her. She used the same phrases he used, the same method. Start simple. Stack the wins. One boy named Raymond came every week just to see her. He was 7. She showed him how to do multiplication on his fingers. He laughed so hard he snorted. Trump watched from across the room. And for a moment, he didn't feel like a businessman, or a politician, or a former president. He felt like a witness to something rare. Real change. Quiet change. The kind that didn't need headlines to exist. Just a table, a pencil, and 2 people who showed up. Summer came and changed everything. Bella's school let out. The Magnet Academy was set to begin in September. That gave her 3 months. 3 months to prepare. 3 months to reflect. 3 months to keep showing up to that library table where the real lessons had started. Trump didn't travel much that summer. He canceled interviews, turned down speaking gigs, told his people, "I've got a standing appointment that matters more." They didn't ask. They knew by now not to. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he arrived 10 minutes early, set up 2 sharpened pencils, a blank worksheet, and that old peanut butter sandwich, still wrapped in foil, still untouched, still treasured. Bella always came exactly on time. She never missed, not once, until the second Tuesday in July. Trump sat waiting. 4:30. Nothing. 4:45. Still empty. 5 p.m., and he was still sitting there. He started to worry. Then she appeared, running, out of breath, hair messy, shirt stained. She dropped into the chair and said, "Sorry." We had no gas. I had to walk from the shelter. Trump said nothing, just pushed a cold bottle of water toward her. She drank half in one gulp, then pulled out her notebook. "Ready to work," she said. He looked at her, really looked, then said, "Not today." She froze. "Why?" "Because you showed me more today than you ever have." You showed up when everything said you shouldn't. That's the kind of strength you don't learn from numbers. Bella smiled, quietly. That day, they didn't do math. They talked. About life. About future plans. About fear. About how sometimes doing the right thing means showing up even when you're exhausted. Bella asked, "Why do you still come here?" "You've already done so much." Trump leaned back, thought for a long time, then said, "Because I've spent my life building things. Towers, deals, campaigns. But this is the first thing I've built that doesn't need my name on it to matter." Bella didn't say anything. She just reached over and squeezed his hand. That moment wasn't photographed. It wasn't filmed. But it was real. Maybe the realest thing he'd experienced in years. And from that day on, everything changed. Bella began writing, not just math notes, essays, poems, short stories. Trump read every single one, corrected grammar, left smiley faces in the margins. One of her essays was published in a teen journal, titled, "The Man in the Hoodie Who Changed My Life." She didn't name him, just described him. Said he taught her math, but also showed her how to think, how to breathe, how to believe. Readers cried, editors called, but Bella stayed quiet. She wasn't chasing likes. She was chasing something more permanent. Growth. The kind that doesn't vanish when the internet moves on. Trump was proud, but he never told her directly. He just showed up. Every time. One day in August, she brought a friend, a girl named Tasha. "She needs help," Bella whispered. "She's like I was." Trump looked at Tasha, then said, "Then we teach her the same way." And just like that, the table got bigger. 2 pencils became 4. 2 chairs became 3. And the quiet movement Trump started by accident became something else entirely. A ripple, a pattern, a legacy. By the time September rolled around, the table was never empty. Bella showed up with 2 kids one day, 5 the next. Some from shelters, some from broken homes, some from foster care, some from nowhere in particular. All of them lost, all of them quiet at first. Trump didn't change his routine. He brought extra pencils, more worksheets, snacks in Ziploc bags, and one simple rule: if you show up, you belong. He didn't tell them who he was. Bella didn't either. They just called him Mr. Don. And he liked it that way. The new kids didn't know the man sitting with them had once run the most powerful country in the world. They only knew that he listened when they spoke, that he waited when they were stuck, that he celebrated every small win like it was a world record. One boy named Malik solved his first long division problem and nearly cried. "No one's ever clapped for me before," he said. Trump clapped louder. So did Bella. That week, Trump had a private meeting with the library director, paid for a new room to be built, labeled it Learning Station. No media, no ribbon cutting, just a fresh coat of paint and a plaque that read, "Every mind matters." Word spread, slowly, quietly. Teachers started referring students. Librarians volunteered. One of Trump's former assistants left her job to help full-time. She told a reporter, "I used to book flights to rallies. Now I bring kids juice boxes. And somehow, this feels bigger." Trump didn't disagree. Bella began tutoring 3 days a week now. Tasha handled reading. Malik helped the younger ones. It was working. It was growing. But it was also getting noticed. A conservative journalist published a story titled, "What if Trump's real comeback isn't political?" It featured quotes from parents, photos of kids, no press photos of Trump, just one blurry image of the back of his head as he helped a boy tie his shoelace. The article ended with a sentence that caught fire online. Leadership is what you do when no one's watching. And right now, he's leading more than ever. The story went viral in quiet corners of the internet. No trending hashtags, no mainstream segments, just DMS group chats, screenshots. Trump didn't comment. When asked by a friend why he stayed quiet, he said, "Because this isn't about turning a page. It's about writing a new one." Bella started her new school mid-September, the Magnet Academy, full scholarship, private bus pickup, uniform with her name stitched into the collar. On her first day, Trump gave her a new backpack. Inside was a ruler, a calculator, and a note. "Keep building. Don't wait for permission." She didn't cry until she got to school. She called him that night. "I was scared," she said. "But then I remembered all the tables you sat at with me. I can sit at this one, too." Trump smiled. "You're not a student anymore. You're a force." She didn't understand what that meant yet, but she would. Because in just a few months, Bella would write something so powerful, so unexpected, it would shake the country awake. But for now, she just opened her books. And the man who had built towers, negotiated with world leaders, and stood behind podiums at rallies, sat in a quiet library and waited for the next kid who needed a place to learn. October brought rain, the kind that lingers, the kind that makes people stay home. But not Bella, not Malik, not Tasha, not the dozen other kids who now showed up regularly. The learning station was full, every Tuesday and Thursday, and on most weekends too. Trump came early, stayed late, no announcements, no press, just a quiet seat at the end of the table, where he reviewed fractions and taught word problems using construction site metaphors. He told the kids, "The same way you pour a foundation, step by step, is how you solve anything." They listened. They learned. One girl, Alicia, couldn't read when she arrived. 2 months later, she read an entire Dr. Seuss book aloud to the group. Trump gave her a standing ovation. Bella hugged her. Alicia cried, then giggled. The laughter stayed in the room long after the kids left. One evening, after everyone had gone, Trump sat alone, staring at the table. A volunteer approached. "You ever think about taking this nationwide?" she asked. Trump didn't answer immediately, then said, "One table at a time. That's how you build a movement that lasts." That weekend, Bella published another piece, an essay for a regional competition. The title, "Math was my second language. Kindness was my first." It was about Mr. Don, about how she used to solve problems alone, but never felt safer than when she had someone to work beside her. The essay won, then got picked up by a national platform. A major education nonprofit reposted it. A senator read it into the congressional record. A former news anchor tweeted, "If half our leaders led like this, we wouldn't be in such a mess." The name Mr. Don started trending again. Still no official confirmation. Still no statement. Trump ignored all requests for interviews. Bella told him, "They're asking questions again." Trump said, "Then let them ask. We'll keep working." Then came the day that changed everything. Late October, a student named Jonah showed up. Small, shy, didn't speak for the first week, just listened, watched. Then one day, he pointed at a math problem and whispered, "I think I know that one." Trump nodded. "Try it." Jonah wrote slowly. "Got it wrong." Trump smiled. "Now we know where to start." 3 weeks later, Jonah was helping others, quietly, patiently. That's when Bella said something that made Trump pause. She said, "You didn't just teach us math, you gave us mirrors." Trump looked confused. "Mirrors?" "Yeah," she said, "to see who we really could be." He didn't say anything, just nodded. Later that night, he wrote it down, word for word. That phrase would stick with him. It would shape everything he'd build from that moment forward. Because in the end, it wasn't about fixing numbers. It was about fixing how people saw themselves. And somehow, in a quiet corner of a public library, with sharpened pencils and peanut butter sandwiches, that's exactly what he'd done. November came colder than expected, the kind of cold that bites the fingertips. But inside the learning station, warmth filled the room. Not just from heat, from energy, growth, confidence. Jonah was speaking full sentences. Alicia was helping 2 new girls with phonics. Malik was learning how to write emails. Bella was leading, not from the front, but from within. She encouraged. She corrected gently. She modeled everything Mr. Don had taught. Trump began showing up on Mondays too. Quiet prep days, no students, just him and a few volunteers. Stocking shelves, printing worksheets, reviewing each kid's progress. He kept a folder on every student, labeled by first name only. Inside, notes, goals, personal victories. They're not just numbers, he told a volunteer. They're builders. One afternoon, Bella asked for a meeting. Just her and Trump. They sat at the table like always, but this time she didn't open her notebook. She handed him an envelope. "It's a nomination," she said. "There's a National Education Award for Community Builders. I wrote about you, and they accepted." Trump didn't open the envelope, just stared at it. "I don't need an award." Bella replied, "But the kids need to know what leadership looks like." He looked up. "They already see it, every time you help someone." She didn't back down. "You started this. Let them see where it began." He sighed. "If I accept, the spotlight comes. It might hurt the work." Bella thought for a moment, then said something he didn't expect. "What if the spotlight shows others how to start their own table?" He blinked. That line stayed with him. He didn't give her an answer that day. But 2 weeks later, he flew to Washington, D.C., under an alias. No cameras, no entourage. He sat in the last row of a quiet banquet hall. When his name was announced, Donald J. Trump, Community Impact Award recipient. No one clapped louder than the row of kids in the second row, all wearing shirts that said, "Every mind matters." He walked to the stage, no speech prepared. He stood at the mic, looked out at the crowd, and said, "This award isn't for me. It's for a table. A small table in a public library where a girl named Bella taught me what real strength looks like." He paused. She didn't need a building. She just needed someone to sit beside her. Then he stepped back. Bella joined him, held his hand, and they raised the plaque together. That photo, unlike the others, went everywhere. Not because it was flashy, but because it was human, real. 2 people, generations apart, holding up a truth most had forgotten. That change doesn't start in power. It starts in presence. Quiet, steady, relentless. The learning station tripled in size after that. Donations poured in, volunteers showed up, retired teachers, stay-at-home parents, veterans. Trump used the funds to open 4 new centers. He named them not after himself, but after the kids. Each one bore a first name: the Bella Room, the Jonah Room, the Alicia Wing, the Malik Center. Reporters tried to make it political, but Trump refused. "This isn't about left or right," he said. "It's about showing up." And now the whole country was watching. By December, the learning station had become more than a room. It was a movement, not loud, not flashy, but real, grounded. More than 20 libraries across the country had contacted Trump's quiet network. Some used donations. Some just needed guidance. Trump made it simple. One table, one adult, one kid at a time. No fancy branding, no massive rollouts, just people, showing up, over and over again. Bella's essay was now being studied in education courses. She had no idea. She just kept tutoring, helping Jonah with decimals, encouraging Alicia to enter her first spelling bee, listening when Malik said he wanted to become a teacher. Trump came in early one morning before the kids. He hung a new quote above the door. It said, "Hope doesn't arrive with noise. It arrives with someone pulling up a chair." No cameras were there to capture it. Just one volunteer who wiped her eyes and whispered, "He gets it." Then something unexpected happened. The First Lady, not the current one, but the former, called. Asked to visit. Said she wanted to see what the fuss was about. Trump was hesitant, but Bella said yes. "Let them see the good," she told him. The visit was quiet. No press. Just a walk-through. She sat at a table with Jonah. He showed her his notebook. She smiled. He beamed. A photo of the moment ended up online. Captioned, "Dignity in the details." That same week, a storm hit the coast. Power outages. Schools shut down. One of the new centers lost heat. Trump made 3 calls, sent a mobile generator, delivered blankets and food, then flew there himself. Spent the night handing out hot soup. No one recognized him until the morning. A little boy pointed. "You're the guy from TV." Trump smiled. "Not anymore, buddy. Now I just do math." That clip, caught on a phone, went viral. But Trump didn't retweet it. He just forwarded it to Bella. Said nothing. She responded with a heart emoji and kept working. By Christmas, the original learning station threw a small party. Kids made cards. Volunteers brought snacks. Bella handed Trump a gift. It was wrapped in newspaper. Inside, a binder. Plain black cover. Labeled, "The Table Files." He opened it. Inside were photos, notes, quotes from every student. "You made us feel seen. Mr. Don taught me I'm not dumb. He never left when I got frustrated." Trump closed the binder, cleared his throat. "This means more than any building I ever put up." The room was quiet. Then one kid started clapping. Then another. Then all of them. A slow standing ovation for a man who used to be called many things, but now was just known as the guy who never missed a tutoring session. Bella took his hand, whispered, "They're not just clapping for you. They're clapping for the chair you pulled out and never gave up." He nodded, then did what he always did. He sat back down, sharpened a pencil, and waited for the next worksheet to begin. January came in cold and fast. New year, new kids, same mission. Trump arrived earlier now, sometimes before sunrise, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. The table had grown. New students, new volunteers. But the spirit stayed the same. Each person mattered. Every win counted. Bella had started her own leadership group at the Magnet Academy. She called it Chair Club. Their goal was simple: find someone sitting alone and sit with them. No speeches, no slogans, just presence. It spread fast, across classrooms, across cities. One day, Bella got a letter from a high school senior in Kansas. It read, "Because of your story, I stopped hiding. I applied to college. I start next fall." She showed it to Trump. He nodded. One chair, one moment. That's all it takes. The network expanded again, quietly. The table model, as people called it now, was being implemented in 5 states. No red tape, no branding, just borrowed rooms and borrowed time. Teachers sent updates. Kids sent drawings. One drawing showed a stick figure in a red tie holding a pencil next to a smiling girl. Caption, "Mr. Don and me." Trump pinned it to the wall. Next to it, he posted a handwritten quote from Bella. "Kindness isn't a program. It's a choice you make again and again." Then came the invitation, a former president's summit, education leaders, business minds, media. They asked Trump to give the closing speech. He declined at first, but Bella said, "You should go. Tell them what a pencil and a chair can do." So he went. No teleprompter, no entourage, just a man and a binder. He stepped up to the podium, held up a number 2 pencil, said, "This did more for kids in the last year than most legislation in the last decade." The room went quiet. Then he said, "I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm here to remind you what it looks like to show up." Then he opened the binder Bella gave him, read 3 quotes, one from Alicia, one from Jonah, one from Malik. He ended with this line, "If you want to fix a nation, start with a table. Start with a chair. Start with a child who thinks they're invisible and make them feel seen." I did that. Not because I had to, but because I could. He walked off stage, didn't wait for applause, but the room stood anyway. Not out of politics, out of something deeper. Respect. Truth. The kind people recognize without being told. The next morning, Bella got a text. Just 1 line. They listened. She replied with 2 words. Of course. Trump returned to the library that Thursday. Same hoodie, same pencils, same chair. Jonah was working on ratios. Tasha was helping a new kid. Bella walked in, gave him a nod. No one said a word about the speech, because here, it didn't matter who you were out there. It only mattered that you showed up here. Spring returned like a quiet promise. New sunlight, new kids, same old table. The learning station had become more than anyone expected. More than Trump expected. It wasn't just a place, it was a blueprint, a whisper to the nation that solutions didn't always wear suits. Sometimes they wore hoodies and brought sharpened pencils. One morning, Trump arrived to find a surprise. The wall behind the table had been repainted. In soft white script, a quote now stretched across it. "He taught us numbers, but also that we count. Bella M." He read it twice, then sat down without a word. The first kid of the day walked in, a shy girl named Destiny. She'd been placed in foster care the week before. She didn't speak, just stared. Trump handed her a pencil. "Let's do one thing together," he said. She nodded. They solved one problem. Just one. Then another. Then she looked up and whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Don." He didn't smile, just gave a small nod. "Any time." Destiny came back the next week, and the week after that. Another chair was pulled up, another page turned. Bella kept leading, not just at school, but nationally. She spoke at a youth summit, wrote an op-ed. She closed it with these words, "The man who taught me math never asked for attention. He asked for commitment. He gave me his time when I didn't know I was worth it. And because of that, I'll never waste mine." The essay was read in classrooms across the country. A teacher in Idaho turned it into a morning mantra. A mayor in Texas started a citywide mentorship table program. A governor called to ask if he could meet Mr. Don. Trump didn't take the call. Bella asked him why. He answered simply, "Because the work doesn't need my name, it needs my presence." That spring, Trump walked into the library one last time. The table was full. Bella was teaching now, completely, confident, steady. He stood in the doorway for a long time, watching. A volunteer approached. "Are you ready?" she asked. He nodded, walked over, whispered something to Bella. She hugged him, long, quiet, then took his seat. The kids looked up, confused. Trump smiled. "She's the teacher now." Then he turned, walked out. That night, Bella opened a letter. No return address. Inside was a note and one item. The note read, Never forget what a pencil and a chair can do. The item was the original foil-wrapped peanut butter sandwich, untouched, preserved, and next to it, the wooden ruler she gave him months ago. The message was clear. The baton had been passed, quietly, permanently. No spotlight, no send-off, just legacy, one kid at a time. And so the story didn't end with applause. It ended the way it began, with someone showing up, pulling out a chair, and believing that even the quietest moments can change everything. And that's where this story comes to a pause, for now. Because in the end, it's not about headlines or handshakes. It's about a pencil, a table, and the truth that every child, every American, deserves to be seen. No one is forgotten. No one is beyond hope. Where are you watching from today? Let us know in the comments. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that real change begins with presence, not politics, please like the video and subscribe. We share powerful stories like this every week to uplift, inspire, and start the kinds of conversations that matter. Feel free to pass this on to someone who believes in second chances, quiet heroes, and the strength of simply showing up. Your support keeps these stories alive and helps them reach the people who need them most. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.